It is the moon shining brightly, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It's coming out of the east, and the sun's right on top of it there.
Oh, it's a great day in Sylacauga, Alabama. You know, we had the opening of Lloyd's yesterday and Publix tomorrow. Long-awaited business openings.
Oh, long awaited. We were planning on this. They planned to open earlier, you know, but one thing happened after the other, the economy and everything else, and getting parts and all. But Lloyd's, they invited me over there Friday, and went over there about 6:30, and they had to close. They normally close at 4, and then they said that they keep it on. There were so many people there, but they ran out of food, so I went back Sunday afternoon and had a lovely afternoon with my daughter and my niece. Had a good dinner.
Yeah, you know, people talk about negatives of Sylacauga. Well, a lot of great positive things going on. Publix and Lloyd's, they're going to employ a lot of people too.
Well, they are. I mean, both of them are. You know, of course, Publix tomorrow morning they're going to have a little ceremony in the morning. We've got to be there at 6:30 in the morning, and we're looking forward to that. But that just shows you how many people have been going up to Inverness, to Lloyd's, up to.
And what does that mean to us now? That dollar's staying
now
here.
They're here, and it's not just the 12,000 we got in Sylacauga. This is a 20 or 30 mile radius that's going to come to Sylacauga. Save them a lot of time going up there in that 280 corridor.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So those businesses opening and others have opened or are going to be opening as well too.
Well, that's true. You know, Wharf's going to be a while. You
Yeah.
know, it'll probably be next year because they got a lot of landscaping they got to do in that area. But
Where actually
CVA,
physically will that be?
That'll be the last 2 acres touching Oak Grove
Okay.
on 280. What do you call those mini warehouses?
Okay.
That is in Oak Grove. Right next to it is the 2 acres on the east side of that, and that's where they'll be putting the wharf.
Okay. I don't know.
And they got 2 acres there, so they're going to use 1 acre, then they got another acre, so who knows what's going to wind up going on that acreage.
Yeah.
It's a lot of beautiful things
Yeah.
happening in Sylacauga. We can't thank our people enough for coming together and working together and make these things happen.
Busy time for the Sylacauga City Council too.
Well, it is. Oh, yes, they got their hands full. There's no doubt about that. What are you referring to?
Well, let's start with money for our police department.
That's being handled. We're going to be all right in that respect. It's the council pretty well approved all that. We do.
But it's absolutely necessary. We had to do this.
We have to. I mean, look at inflation. Golly, Pete, you know, our tax revenue really jumped up from last year with the inflation, and it's cost so much more. You know, going to the stores there. I mean, you should get a can of dog food for $1.10. Now it costs you $1.98. You know, but anyway, it is inflation, and the council does have their hands full. We have to bring. We should have been looking at this ahead of time with this inflation on our revenues for our salaries for our police department and also our fire department. And we got the animal shelter issue that we have to get a director and assistant director out there, plus 3 technicians or laborers, you know, to help us with that. Connie Woolick, she retired first of last month, and God bless her, she had her heart into that.
Oh, yeah.
But she was pretty well burned. She needed to retire because she's getting burned out with it. But it'll happen. And the council, I sure at this next meeting will set the salaries for somebody, make it comparable for somebody to come in there and work those jobs.
One topic that is very touchy to the citizens of Sylacauga is the conversation about an increase of 1.5% in taxes.
It was brought up at the last council meeting, and of course the previous council, they talked about it 3 years ago, I think it was. And yes, they're talking about it. They're seeing the need for it. Do we raise taxes in an inflated economy? I don't know. I'm not an economist. I don't know. Do we need monies? Yes, we need some monies. We got 2-point-something million worth of paving we need to do. We got to look at least a fire engine. We need to put it in now to get that fire engine in 3 years. Because what we're using now, we were down to a 8-10-year-old fire engine that used to pump out the swimming pool. And that's the only thing. That thing is old. It's antique. Thank God it's still running. We keep it out there at Station 2. But the ladder truck gave us trouble, and we had to get some work done with that and get that back on the road. But we had 2 main fire trucks off the road at one time. That's scary.
Yeah, that can be very dangerous.
It can. Because that's our main purpose, you know, provide the protection for the people and their properties.
Yeah. You just mentioned something that's really bothering a lot of folks too. No swimming pool for 3 years now.
Make it 4.
Make it 4. Who's counting?
Who's counting? I am. Well, that's like you know, we got a board, we got a director, Steve Masters, God bless him, he has done wonders.
He has.
With the Parks and Rec, and what he has brought together with all the sports
What's the
activities.
answer here, Mayor?
Well, we're having to clean up something that was left to them, something these inherited, the council inherited. Steve Masters inherited the new
So
board
it's
members.
the prior council's fault?
Well, I'm not blaming anybody for it. You know, it's but we're just having to bring things up to LWCF grants. You know, which we need to do. It's a matter of maintaining what you have until you get to the point where you can build something new, and then shut down the old. You know, in my opinion, that's the way I would look at it.
So this pool that's adjacent to the Parks and Rec, it's just kind of sitting there.
It's sitting there. It's full of water, full of rainwater. I've been told that the walls are falling in. There's a sinkhole underneath it. It's unsafe. I've sent 2 letters to engineers that made these statements, and I haven't received the geological surveys of what actually was studied. You know, it takes something. At one time, it would have taken. I found out later that to take about $180,000 to fix it. Today, it probably costs you better than $250,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, at least a quarter. To fix it, what's got to be done, because what I've seen over there with, well, but I don't know, the council got a big, got a lot of stuff on their plate, and the new community center is something, I think they started off with an idea, and with the economy and everything else, that idea just went south down.
And that's understandable.
Yeah, it is, and that's basically what happened. You know, they had these plans, you know, they're going to have a community center. Food World building was been gone, a nice community center there, and just one thing after another, and then Chambers Pen came in. Now they picked out 6 different locations to put the new community center. The last one, or the number 1, what they want to do is on 21 North. But my part in this is the Planning Commission. Land use, that's what I have to look at. Zoning, that's what I have to look at. We got 7 people on that board, well 9. I've got 1 vote, and the council's got 1 member.
The Planning Commission is key, isn't it?
It is. Everything needs to go through the Planning Commission to see how it's going to fit in a comprehensive plan, which we paid thousands of dollars for that comprehensive plan, and it needs to be renewed every 10 years.
Oh.
And all these zonings and everything else. That's what's helped us with downtown, the Planning Commission, where they recommended that they go ahead and our 2-story buildings, make a living quarters upstairs, run your business downstairs. Your home, as long as you don't draw traffic into your home, you can run your law office there or your accounting business there or something like that. And it's made a big difference for a lot of people to stay here in Sylacauga and work and live. Speaking
of downtown, looking good.
Doing good, yeah. CDA, you know, they're doing a wonderful job down there. They got a lot of good plans. They're really helping with the wharf project there. And also Julie and Alan Sanders, they've done a wonderful job with it and maintaining what we have and building it back for the last. So what's on the back
side here of Broadway? They're doing that work over there.
Yeah, that's an engineering oversight. I think that the one who had the 18, well, they had the 15 TAP grant plus the 18 and 19 TAP grant, and now they applied for the 23, but somebody was not asked, you know, or communicated with, and they came in there and they had to put these wires in there for, I don't know what kind of services it was they had put in there, and they had to cut the concrete out to put it in after we'd already put it down. And of course, those people should have been communicated with before they did it, where they could go ahead and put the piping in. All they had to do is run the wire, you know.
I was going in a business.
You got about 4 big. You go all the way from fermenters all the way down to what Odie's used to be.
And they had some plyboard down there, and you know, when I'm walking on that plyboard, I'm not too.
I know it's a safety hazard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's a little engineering defect, I think, but the problem right now is that's the LDOT grants. LDOT says you put this sidewalk or curbing and all in, you use this type of concrete. This is the mixture you use. Now they're having to wait to get that mixture. They can't just go out there and pour some concrete in here. It won't work that way. You got to go back and do it the way LDOT would, because you signed that agreement with them, and that's their rules and that's their regulations. Just like our code department, you know, we're under the 2015 building code. We do it by the code for safety, and there's reasons for that.
Sylacauga Mayor Jim Heigl here with us this morning on Daybreak's about 22 minutes before the hour. Cup of coffee in hand from a local business. We'll spend a few more minutes with the mayor and something that has made news all across the state of Alabama in Sylacauga is crime, and we had another homicide last week. And we talked earlier about our police department, and we had to call in a lot of people, a lot of law enforcement to help us with this situation, and nobody seems to want to talk about this.
Well, it's under investigation, ongoing investigation, so you do have to be careful what you say, because you could ruin the case if they got the material and the interest, what they need to carry before a judge, So you do have to be careful. Crime Stoppers is being contacted. They already have. There's money available for them that people can call in with information. That's the biggest problem we have, people talking.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
they don't want to talk about it.
They don't. I don't know why. They're scared or what it is, but these gangs, or whoever these young children and kids are, But anyway, they're going to increase the patrols, and they'll also have safety check areas in certain areas. And we'll try and do it. Police department's doing all they can. When you said bring everybody in, usually when you have a shooting, everybody comes in anyway. Mm-hmm. The county, the state, the city. Childersburg may call them in, or Childersburg may have some, and they may call Talladega and us in, Yeah. And to try to circulate that area and catch them in that pocket, It's but law enforcement works together on these crimes.
Sylacauga Mayor Jim Heigl this morning. Some other notes of interest this morning from the mayor's office. I know we've touched on a lot of things this morning, but maybe a couple of things we haven't touched on you want to share this morning?
Well, I'm just tickled to death the way the city's growing. We're expanding well. They say the wheels of government work slowly, which they do, because we have to be careful that we're doing it the right way. We have Mike Westone is our new building code director at City Hall, and he's done a marvelous job the past 6 years. He's been responsible for a lot of these things happening, make sure they're done right. Mm-hmm. And also we've got a new city clerk, and those positions we fill will be advertising to fill vacancies in other areas.
Have we finished with the, we had the flooding at City Hall. Is that completed
That is
now?
ongoing. The council's already approved the main issue that we had with one street line. It's going to be about $500-something thousand to replace this one storm sewer line. And we will go back, and Michael Rice with EEF&S. I'm mixing them up with ED&T. But EEF&S. He's been the contractor on all our paving and everything. He's always come in on time. And the times he hasn't come in on time, he's been before time and under budget. And but been enjoy working with him. But they're going to go ahead and camera some more storm sewer lines. We have some other issues that Reed Cappy, our street superintendent, has picked up on.
Magical Marble Festival's coming up in just a few weeks.
Well, we got some great festivals coming up. In July, we're going to have an antique car thing from 1920 on back.
How old were you then?
I love that one. You got me. But no, Stevie Wyatt, he has been a member of this car club for years and years, and it's his turn to pick out a place to have the showing. It's going to last for a week, and that's going to be great. And of course, the Marble Festival is always great. We're going to have another sculptor from Pietrasanta, Italy here. Ted Spears has done a wonderful job with this, and we're going to have, he'll probably have roughly about 36 or 38 sculptors from around the country and maybe some overseas who will come here and sculpt for those 2-week period.
And people say, well, what's the big deal? Well, the big deal is it brings a lot of new faces into our town.
It brings a lot of new faces. It fills up our hotels, motels. It's shopping in here. The revenue, we can see it growing. And the eating places we have today is going to be much more magnificent. And can you imagine the people going by Publix, heading down to Alley City to the lake coming up this spring and summer? People are starting to head down that way now, getting ready to open up their cabins and all.
People talk about, and they share their frustrations, rightly so, about the length of time it takes for a public say to come into Sylacauga or wherever the city may be, you just don't snap your finger and that happens.
No, it doesn't. I think public is well aware of the amount of traffic they were getting from down here, but yet they still had to run the figures, you know, the traffic flows and all that. They had to look at that. They had to look at the land. They had to deal with the Hutton people, you know, to get the property. And they started off with one size building, what they thought, but they expanded it since then. So that put a delay. You had power lines that when they first put in on Hutton property came in, well, those lines had to be pushed back, and that takes time, and that's money, you know. But I think that they're going to get their money back. It's just like Holt Stevens, I told him, he was talking about it'll cost him a little bit more to open that store up in the restaurant than he anticipated. I said, look out there. I said, the only problem you're going to look at now is find a parking place for all these people.
Yeah.
I said, you're going to get your money back.
And, you know, not only on the 280 thoroughfare, but on Norton and Broadway, we see buildings that are filling up, and that's a good thing. And you know, it's an exciting time for the city of Sylacauga.
It is. And you know, these small businesses, that's who employs the people.
Sure.
That's where most of it comes. Yeah, we got industry around here, but these small businesses who hire people in restaurants and all, that's where the biggest employment's at overall.
No doubt about it. Sylacauga Mayor Jim Heigl, our guest this morning. And before we go, we had another fantastic Pancake Day last Saturday, too.
They did. The Kiwanis Club did a beautiful job, as usual, you know, and that's their biggest money intake for the year to help individual families and individual children and all throughout the year. And of course, ARC's got Sunshine Saturdays coming up pretty soon.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to that. So we got a lot of beautiful things happening.
The museum had their event last Saturday, too.
They did, and they had a great turnout on that, and I could get over. I was over there the other day, and it's amazing. First time I've been upstairs in the basement, you know, and this has changed a good bit. It's so much interesting, so much history there you can look back on.
All right, before we go this morning, this is not on my notes, but what keeps Mayor Jim Heigl going? I mean, you could easily retire and ride off into the sunset, but what drives you?
I love Sylacauga. I love what we're doing here, and I love the people. I love the people. We're working together to get things done, and look where we're at. I mean, the biggest thing we ever had was James Payton when he brought Walmart in here, and we got Payton Boulevard. And now look what we've got since then. You know, it's just the 280 corridor pretty well takes care of itself, you know. But the people that out there has got the interest and the love for the city of Sylacauga, our beautification councils, our libraries, our museums, and all the Marble Fest. You know, here we were, the paper industry, we lost it. Avondale Mills, we lost that. Gosh, we had that was our backbone. Calcium carbonate, marble. Not only does it use for the arts, but it uses for everything we use on a daily basis. Trains go out of here twice a day, and it's just used in everything, and that's our backbone. It brought industry. It brought about 4 different industries in here, and other industries are looking at coming in here. And there's going to be an expansion of AMIA. They're expanding their operation out there. Demand is there, and we've just been, thank God, you know, that He's really blessed us. He really has. He blessed this city.
Mayor, thanks for coming by this morning.
Well, it's my pleasure. It's always a pleasure to speak with the people of Sylacauga, and we thank all of them for all you're doing, and I hope you're satisfied with the way things are growing.
Sylacauga Mayor Jim Heigl, our guest this morning. Much more on Daybreak coming up right after you watch this.